Oh, it's a beautiful day here at Walmart parking lot. Mosquito bite. Jeez. I'm really pushing the limits with getting every last drop of this toothpaste. Is there any left? Oh, yeah, there's some left. So up here in northern Alaska, a lot of these parking lots have these outlets at them for what I'm assuming is so you can plug in your battery so it doesn't freeze while you're parked. However, for me, it means I get to charge my battery when there's no solar. So, thanks, Alaska. Room service. Room service. Your lights are on.
Oh, shit. Never heard that.
Room service. Just with like all landscape photography, when you're parked in a parking lot, you get nice sunsets with rainbows, even though the rainbow is gone. I'll put a picture on the screen. That's going to conclude today. I didn't really film very much, so we'll probably include tomorrow in this episode. So I will see you then. Later. Well, tomorrow. Me waking up. Bye. This is what it looks like to edit daily videos at 1 a.m. in my car in a parking lot. Hey, pardon the interruption. Just a little reminder that if you want to support me in more ways than liking or subscribing to this channel, you can do that with that little link down below where you can buy prints or buy wallpapers for your phone, or check out my fall Colorado workshop, which is now discounted by 20%. But if you didn't even want to leave YouTube, there's also a thanks button down there, or you can join my little YouTube community, and it helps me out every month. Anyways, let's get back to the video. I went to check to see if it was locked. Felt that it was locked by touching it, and that set the car alarm off. Feels so much better. Ross is all done, oil's changed, tires rotated, not new, just rotated. So we should be good for a while, hopefully. Hi, how are you? Can I just get came out here to check on Ross, and I've made a little friend here, a little vagabond. Look at this guy. Day 3 in a Walmart parking lot, and we're getting a rainbow because that's Walmart parking lot. That's what's happening. Okay, I'm gonna go back in the car so I don't get too wet. It's also flooding. There's a full rainbow. Ah! All right, so the last 2 days, as you can tell, have been pretty uneventful in terms of photography and stuff like that. Just honestly, daily errands, sitting in a Starbucks, working on these videos, working on photos, working on all kinds of stuff to try to catch up with some things that always feel like I'm behind in. But I wanted to end this video with basically talking about the title that I'm going to end up making this video, which is this little story that deals with music, but not in the same way as a few episodes ago where I talk about an album and suggest it to you. It's more of a story of how I don't know, it's a little bit about me, I guess. It's a little bit about my history as Alex. So we're gonna get story time glasses out here. Those are my sunglasses. Those are the wrong glasses. Okay, I gotta wear them low, right? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so this is the story about how I got to photograph Childish Gambino / Donald Glover back in 2014, I believe is the year, but it requires a little bit of setup. So back in 2011, 2012, I become really close friends with this guy named Steven. Steven is still one of my closest friends. I absolutely adore and love him. He still lives in Florida and I miss him dearly. Long story short, he wanted to start filming bands or recording bands, and he talked to me about some camera stuff, and then we just started collaborating on recording musicians. So what ended up happening is about 2012, when I was still in college, I moved into a house with him and we turned the back room into a recording studio. So not only would we mic 16 tracks, we would also film on 5 different cameras.
Give me your hurt, keep your pride. I'm not the first to save your day. Can't hold it back, it comes on just like a heart attack, they say. There you are. You still swear you are. You still swear you are. You
And what we did was we would just take small touring bands that would come through the town that I'm from, and they would crash at our place, because a lot of the times touring bands that were not getting paid very much to have a show, or they were just going through these little places in these little towns, didn't have places to sleep. A lot of the times they would just sleep in their cars, stuff like that. And so what we would do is party until, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning, sleep for a couple hours, wake up, do the session, skip class, and then I would go directly to work without really sleeping. And that happened quite a few times. But it's some of the best memories I've ever had. I still look back at that 10 years ago and think that that was something that I'm very glad I did. But how does that lead to what I'm talking about? So we recorded these bands and we kept creating a portfolio of those things. And a lot of the times we were just doing this for free. We were not getting paid. Every once in a while, a local band would come in and be like, hey, we want some video footage or a live session at a venue. Can you come film us and record us? We would do that. And sometimes we would get paid for that. But what this led to was there was a local venue at the college that I went to called Club Down Under at Florida State University. And that club, we kind of got our foot in the door by being able to film the bands that came through there. Now, a lot of that stuff that we ended up filming never got publicly released. And it really sucks because those bands, I just love going back and watching that material. And you know what? I'm just going to put a few things on the screen now.
I was walking through San Antonio before sound check.
coolest thing about Club Down Under was that it was mostly run by students. So a lot of students volunteered in the first couple of years, and then those volunteer slots would feed into paid positions. But ultimately, what was awesome about it is it gave a way for students to find footing into doing music venue stuff. Anyways, Steven and I were not we were not part of Club Down Under volunteers or employees technically. However, because of the relationships I had created and Steven had created through the music community of that small town, we became friends with some of the people that would give us access to go in and film those bands. Well, eventually we filmed a few of those bands, and I became the photographer that they talked to basically shoot the archival photos for their events, meaning they wanted photos to have that they could use later on down the road to be like, we had this person in this year, and we had this person in this year, and here's the photos. Well, that became me. So in 2014, I got to photograph Childish Gambino. So normally their budget was for smaller bands throughout the year, and at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, they had a budget for a much larger band. Sometimes this was bands like Dr. Dog, Dawes. In 2014, it was Childish Gambino, Iron and Wine, which, by the way, Sam Bean is actually from, or not from FSU, but went to FSU for his master's degree. We're going to talk about that a little later because I also got to photograph him one year. And in 2015, it was 𝐒𝐚𝐫 Lamar. So they've had a lot of big people come through, and sometimes they find people before they even emerge. And it's just a really cool program, and it's something that I wish I actually would have done when I was in college, but I didn't do it until a little bit later. Technically, I was still in school, but I was about to graduate anyways. But I'm still glad I got to be part of that community. And it all came down to spending 2 years basically letting bands crash in our house in that recording studio, recording them for free, filming them for free, moving on up to film bands at Club Down Under for free, and just doing a lot of work to get to that point. But I look back at it and I will always remember those stories and memories, and I would never care about the money or not the money at the time. And I just look back and just feel so lucky that I did that. But ultimately, it just gave me a lot of experience, and it gave me a lot of memory that I can't go back and change. I can't just magically make that happen again. And it's a reminder of literally what I'm doing right now. That the things that I'm doing right now is, even though I might be focused on one thing, 10 years from now, all I'm going to care about is the fact that I can look back on these videos and this experience and get to say that I did it, and I didn't wait around hoping that I would do it. So that's the story about how I photographed Childish Gambino. And I will talk about how I photographed Iron and Wine, but I actually want to save Sam's stuff because I'm super into his music, and it's someone I'm going to talk about at a later date. Anyways, tomorrow I think I'm going to drive to the Arctic Circle. We're going to take the loneliest road in America. So I don't know when you'll see me next because there's absolutely no service out there. So depending on how long I stay out there, to maybe try to find a photograph or two of the Brooks Range up in Gates of the Arctic National Park. Well, time will tell. But anyways, stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, you can like the video if you liked it. If you loved it, consider subscribing if you're not already, and I will see you again tomorrow. Later.
Sorry, I'm just scared of the future until 2005. I got your back, we can do this. Hold up.